podcast. Today we are reacting to Week 7 in the Chattown Fantasy League, and Andrew has something he wants to tell me. So, go ahead.
I would like to first point out that if I could pull out an upset of the week, I feel like you should have also. And I am deeply disappointed in you, sir.
The problem is like I don't know what happened. Basically, well, actually, I'll tell you the
It's
one thing that
karma.
did happen.
Karma is what happened to you. I mean, we
Why do
talked
you think
about
it's
it.
karma?
Well, you had a quarterback that started and gave you 0 points and you still won. So then it would be fitting that the team you play have 3 starters get 0 points and they win.
That's true. All I needed was like maybe 7 points. I think all I needed was like 7 more points. If I got that right. Yeah, 7 points. All I needed was for Mark Andrews to catch a pass in the end zone, and I would have beat him. However,
Yeah, we all know Mark Andrews just like, who knows what the hell he was doing.
do you want to give us the current standings and just run with it, and we'll get going?
Current standings as they stand currently.
That is what current means. Yes.
In first place is London Silly Nannies, thanks to Nicholas for not being able to pull out a 5-2. Let's just talk about if you beat London Silly Nannies, we have 6 teams 5-2. No, correction, 5 teams 5-2. Instead, we have London Silly Nannies who is 6-1. Closely followed by Heartbeat, Lamarvel Universe. Don't take the Bate-man at 5-2. Granted, I am a whopping 110 points away from third place. Damn. Let's see. Number 5 are coming in 5th, Better Than Scott. Coming in 6th, back in the hot seat. 7th, Schrute Farms, 3-4. At 8, Let's Ride, who is also 3-4. 9th, the Waterboys, who is 3-4. 10th and 11th are 2-5 with Biggest Illusion of the Leprechauns. And then last, and he's kind of least this time around, is Scott's Tots. Second thing I want to talk about before we just jump too far into it, the amount of running back, handing off, trading, signing. Like, I have not seen this amount of running backs being swapped since starting the season.
Oh, did I lose you?
And what I mean by that is just to give you a real quick. Okay, Latavius Murray signed to the practice squad for New Orleans. That's the first one. Marlon Mack signed to the practice squad for San Francisco. Marlon Mack signed to active roster, San Francisco. Tevin Coleman signed to the practice squad, San Francisco. Let's see, where are we? Latavius Murray signed to Denver.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like I guess it's not
Marlon
really a surprise
Mack
about
released by San Francisco. Tevin Coleman
it's not really
signed to active roster by San Francisco. Marlon Mack signed to the practice squad of San Francisco. It's like it's just like, oh my god, like just the amount of changing. Christian McCaffrey traded to San Francisco. Tevin Coleman dropped. Marlon Mack signed to Denver. James Robinson signed to New York Jets. Like the amount of
traded to the New York Jets. He wasn't.
Yeah, traded, signed, whatever. But the point is, like, how many RBs have changed hands over the past, since September started the game? 7 weeks.
The thing is like they're coming up on the November 1st deadline.
I know, but like that's all I'm saying is like, like San Francisco's gone through 3 RBs. Denver's gone through 2 as far as signing new ones. I mean, it's crazy the amount of exchanges you've seen.
All right, so this week's point differential was 18.35. It would have been a lot less had the biggest blow up not been so high. It was like 58 points for the biggest blowout. had it been lower, that point difference would have been a lot lower. But it was 18.35 this week, as far as the point differential. So getting into the matchups and the useful points that were left on the bench. I find myself on the end of another close matchup. Or no, I guess last week was the biggest blowout. This week I'm on the end of the closest matchup. So I took on London Silly Nannies, and I'm sorry to say, guys, I have failed you miserably. I should have beaten Jesse handedly. Unfortunately, that is not ultimately up to me. It's more up to if I'd have known that I could have started Gus Edwards, that I should have started Gus Edwards. I mean, if I here's the thing. Well, I'll get into this. So we had a point differential. So basically, London Silly Nannies beat me 65.18 to 58.7. There was 6.48 points difference. So that's the closest for this week. There was another one that was like 7 and some change, but this one was the closest. London Silly Nannies, he left 8.8 points on his bench. If he'd have started Sammy Watkins over Cole Kmet, oh, I'm sorry, Sammy Watkins and Cole Kmet over his 3 zeros. Joshua Palmer, AJ Green, or Elijah Moore, he would have gotten an extra 8.8 points. That being said, I left 15.9 points on the bench. I should have started Gus Edwards over Alec Pierce and Naeem Hines over Isaiah Pacheco. If I had done that, I would have beaten him. If I had, even if I had put my best and he had put his best, I still would have beaten him had I started Gus Edwards and Naeem Hines. Now it would have been a much closer margin, but I still would have been able to come out on top. So let's go with this. Poor choices so far this week for me, and I just made some bad choices. Number one, I did not start Gus Edwards over Isaiah Pacheco. That was actually something in my mind of possibly doing, just because I threw Isaiah Pacheco in there because
But
I
hear me
heard.
out. Hear me out. Like when you make this mistake, it's because you're asleep half the time. Like if
It's
you were awake and you got the message Gus Edwards is starting a practice squad one on the field, I guarantee you start him over Isaiah Pacheco.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I thought
Shame on
I
you.
was pretty
Shame
sure
on
Gus
you for
Edwards
the
was going
same.
to be I was pretty sure Gus Edwards was gonna be involved. I just didn't know quite to the extent that he was
To
going to be
what
involved.
extent he would be
Because the
involved?
thing
Yeah.
is, they had Kenyon Drake last week, and so in my mind, I was like, okay, they'll probably continue using Kenyon Drake, get Gus some touches, and then they'll be good. But I didn't realize that it was like, no, Gus Edwards gets everything, and Kenyon Drake gets nothing. That being said, if I hadn't dropped Daniel Jones and picked up Geno Smith, I would have won because Daniel Jones, for some reason, decided to get 28 points on the week, as where Gino decided he was going to go for 13. And so even that was a bad choice. So let's just say, Jesse, congratulations getting the first position, going 6-1. The stars were aligned for you. They were not aligned for me. So either way, I would have like there were things that I could have done, like even one small change, and I could have beaten you. However, I did not. So congratulations. All right, you want to take the next matchup?
Sure. Schrute Farm, Scott's Tots. It was a nail biter down to the last game, if I remember correctly. Scott
Mm-hmm.
lost, unfortunately, 101.9 to 114.42, thanks to Ramadre Stevenson. Let's see what happened. Schrute Farms left 21 points on the bench. Scott's Tots had 20.3. Um, Misses for Schrute was Benjamin over Kareem Hunt and Michael Carter over Drake London. Scott Tots missed Dante Foreman for Brandon Cooks. Chuba Hubbard over whatever Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
And Pat Faramuth over David Njoku.
Yep.
Scott starts all the correct people, he wins. However, Scott and Schrute both start the same amount of people that they missed. Scott still loses.
Yep.
And Scott is now 0-7. I'm going to take this time to talk to Scott. Scott, I am 1-6 in one of my other leagues. Granted, it's not as bad as 0-7. But, at the end of the day, your team's not doing what you need them to do. So, I'm at the point where I'm like, hey, I'm trading everything and seeing what I can get because clearly the people I thought were good aren't good. And the weapons I do have, I got to use to get better weapons or at least good enough
Mhm.
weapons to win. All right, getting off that high horse after you, sir.
All right. Better than Scott destroyed the Leprechauns with a booming 112.74 to 56.56. It was the biggest blowout of the week with 58.16 points difference. Better than Scott left 18.4 points on the bench. He should have started Travis Etienne over Michael Gallup. Um, yeah, especially now that Travis Etienne is the number one in Jacksonville. Last week we saw it. This coming week, it'll be something interesting. I am making a shot for Jermichael Hasty, who's the background. So, Leprechauns, you left 6.6 points on the bench. You should have started Mike Boone over Kenyon Drake and Nico Collins over Romeo Dobbs. However, Leprechauns, you are in some serious need of help. Like along the same lines as Scott, um, Leprechauns has lost four in a row. Like there's just you've got to start wheeling and dealing big time in order to have any chance. You're 2-5 now, which is great because you have a chance. You're not necessarily starting. You're starting in the hole, but if you can rattle off wins, then that's going to be really good for you. But even if you had started your best players, you wouldn't have been able to beat better than Scott.
Biggest loser, who is not the biggest loser, lost to Heartbeat. Score was 85.4 to 98.02, leaving Heartbeat at 5-2. Heartbeat left 13.9 points on the bench. Biggest loser left 9.7. Starters would have been Khalil Herbert over Josh Reynolds for Heartbeat. And then Matt Collins, who I have no idea who that is, over DK Metcalf for biggest loser. However, still would not have got you the win on that one, biggest loser. So, at the end of the day, you still lost.
Matt
That
Collins is a wide
sucks.
receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Like I said, should start him over DK, but who would have done that, honestly?
Yeah, no.
Nobody.
That one. I don't even think I would have started Khalil Herbert over Josh Reynolds. But then again, that one's kind of a little bit more in between. All right, the Waterboys took it to Let's Ride, putting them both at 3-4 now, with a 74.08 points over 66.82. The Waterboys with the highest bench total. Actually, this game as a whole had so many more points on the bench. But Waterboys left 30.18 points on the bench. Should have started Justin Fields over Dak and should have started Miko Hardman over Debo Samuel. First off,
Yeah, Justin Fields having a blow up of a week. Like, I'm surprised he has him, honestly. Like, that man has not been playing good at
yeah,
all.
I know. The thing is like too with that, I probably would have started the same guys. Like I probably would have started Dak and I probably would have started Debo over them. I am curious how much of Debo's production is going to drop now that McCaffrey is there. Kind of curious to see, or does because now that McCaffrey's there, does Debo all of a sudden get better? Like, is there like a move up completely? So that one I'm kind of curious to see. Let's Ride left 29.3 points on the bench. So this game total left 59 point what is that 48 points on the bench. Um, Let's Ride. You should have started Tyler Boyd over Leonard Fournette and Dalton Schultz over James Robinson. Now that you have if you had started your guys over the other ones, you would have won. In this league or this week, 4 of the 6 games, if they had started the right people, they would have won. But you would have got 96.12 points to the Waterboys 74.08. That being said, uh, James Robinson looks like he's going to be the back in New York for the Jets.
Premier
So
back.
obviously, the premier back. So I would definitely keep him.
I got you.
Man, Tyler Boyd over Leonard Fournette. I don't know. I don't know if I'd have done that because like you would think. from here on out, and we'll talk about Tampa Bay in a bit, but from here on out, I don't think Tampa Bay can be trusted. I mean, like, how do you lose to the Panthers? Are you gonna
Uh,
get things situated? Like, that's a concern that I've got. So, all right, why don't you finish this out?
um, bring up the rear. Biggest upset of the week, I feel like. At least for Lamarvel, it was. Don't take the bait, man. Pulled out an astounding win over the Marvel Universe, 101.46 to 86.4. Um, Looking back at it, I was down until Las Vegas's game, and then all of a sudden I got up real quick.
Yeah,
Uh, I left 5.2 points on the bench with Curtis Samuel, still sitting there over Dustin Duvernay. Lamarvel,
Devin, who's Dustin? Who's
that's what I
Dustin?
said.
Yeah,
Listen,
Devin.
didn't I say Devin?
You said Dustin.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Listen,
uh,
listen, Dustin. If you're listening to this, change your name to
pretty
Dustin.
pretty sure Devin would come and probably kick your butt.
I mean, maybe. Lamarvel. Let's see. 30 points on the bench. Absolutely would have stomped the fire out of me if you started all the correct people. Starting George Pickens over Amon Ra, negative. MVS over Amari Cooper. Apparently,
Which
we
we
offered you the opposite advice last week. Who'd have thought?
yeah.
Raheem Mostert over Jamal Williams. Oh, God,
Yep.
nobody would have started that.
Why not?
Oh,
I don't.
man.
Raheem Mostert's been doing really well. Like,
No,
and
I'm saying. No one would have started him over Detroit. I mean, honestly, I would have found a way to start both of them. Really, like I wouldn't have even started MVS or George Pickens or Amari Cooper. I started all running
he
back.
started Amon Ra and Amari Cooper, but I think those were in his wide receivers positions. I don't think he could have changed
I mean,
that at all.
honestly, it was a fluke. Um, in hindsight, I started Marcus Mariota, and and like I said, I was losing pretty much the entire time until Josh
Mm-hmm.
Jacobs started running
Decided
the
to
ball. He
blow up.
decided to get me 35 points. I mean, I'm not saying I had bad team. I mean, most of my team got exactly what they said they were going to, relatively
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
within closeness. And, he had a few blowups with Aaron Jones and, yeah, just Aaron Jones. Lamar Jackson just failed you. That's all it is. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah,
Lamar did
yeah.
not do for you like he did normally.
Like he's been doing. Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure. Who surprised you in a good way? I listed out three guys, but I'll let you like I'll let you take the last one. I figure because he's on your team. But
who surprised me in a good way? Go ahead. I'll let you handle.
I would say Daniel Jones was surprising. At Jacksonville, got 28.78 points in our league. So he went 19 for 30 with 202 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions, and then he rushed for 107 yards and a touchdown, and I freaking dropped him. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. Just being able to see that. I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to chase the points, but also I'm kind of concerned. Like maybe it's just a fluke day. It was just one of those days where it was like, okay, well, we're just gonna, he's got to do it. And against Jacksonville, which isn't really that great of a defense, who knows? Another one was Joe Burrow. It looks like Joe Burrow is back. He's had 2 weeks in a row where he's gotten 30 plus points. This week against Atlanta, he got 39.24. He was 34 for 42, 481 yards and three touchdowns, along with rushing for 20 yards and getting a touchdown rushing as well. Atlanta looks like they cannot stop anybody in the wide receiver realm. So if you happen to have a wide receiver, so I think they play Carolina next. If you have DJ Moore, and that's about it.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs, 143 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, four targets for 12 yards. The yards and touchdowns. Um, I still think I remember picking up Josh Jacobs, and like I feel like you told me that he was on his way out. You know?
The reason why I told you that is because like they did not pick up his
Yeah, no,
NFL
no, no.
option.
Everybody was pretty much saying he's on his way out,
Yep, but he's
and so yeah, he
he's done really
he
well.
is definitely he is definitely coming in clutch for the Las Vegas
Yeah,
Raiders.
big time.
Um,
Um,
keep up the good work. You know, I would say another one that I enjoyed thoroughly. Benjamin. Maybe
hmm.
not in this league because I don't have him in this league, but once again in one of my other leagues, he basically blew up. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was watching that game and first touchdown went to the backup Ingram or whatever his name is, and I was like, I'm done.
Hmm.
Shut it off.
Right, right,
And
exactly.
then I look at it. I look at it that night. I got like 24 points on that team. So I
Like
was like,
I'll take
hey,
it, thank you.
yeah, I'm so happy. But
Yeah,
guys, I am worried about. I am dropping everybody like it's hot in my ESPN league. Scott, once again, shout out to you. I traded Justin Jefferson away. I'm looking at trading Mark Andrews away. Like it is time for the ship is sinking, and at this point, we're throwing everything overboard just to stay afloat.
yep.
If I can get some good trades along the way, I'll take them. If not, worst case scenario, Scott. Hey, I lose another game. Can't be any worse than what it is. I'm
But
gonna be
you're
number
not
one draft pick
necessarily
next year.
throwing away your guys because you're not throwing away Justin Jefferson and Mark Andrews because of the fact that they
I
suck,
guarantee it.
right?
No one makes the trades that I make.
That's true. I would say that. And
No
even
one in
even
this
looking
league
back at
would have traded away Jonathan Taylor for Jalen Hurts.
which is pretty much well, you got Curtis Samuel too. Okay, so I got Jonathan Taylor
Yeah,
out of the
okay.
way.
He's already been dropped off of my league. Like come on now.
Curtis Samuel
Yeah, I think I dropped him.
in this league, I don't think no. You should have started him this past week. How would that have been listed if you had dropped him?
Oh no,
But
yep, there he is. There he is. You're right. I didn't drop him.
yep,
Maybe it's
he's
my
still
other
on
league.
your
So
team.
who
Yep.
cares?
But
Anyway,
anyway, I would go whatever other league he's in. I'd probably go pick him up because he seems to be like the one, and Jahan Dotson seems to be out for a while.
but he's
So yeah, I
not.
would.
He's not. He's
What do you
not
mean?
getting any more points than normal.
But what do you if you're? But I'm talking about like consistency because the thing is like yes, of course you want that player who's going to blow up and blow up every single week, but
What
all of
consistency
those
is he offering?
players.
He went 15, 19, 9, 5, 9, 1, 10. Does that
Okay, so you
sound
got.
consistent to you?
I mean that is consistent. I mean you got 1-1, and it sounds like a
Cons-
lot of nines.
Consistently bad. Yeah, I agree.
No, consistently. Like, if you're talking about, are you talking about in our league, or are you talking about in your standard league?
I'm talking about this league. Standard league, yeah, he's really like just drop him like he's hot. Because I mean, he's only getting like 5 points there. Like I don't even get the points out of receptions over there.
I mean, yeah, like not like having a standard
He's
league kind
literally
of
he
sucks.
literally got 5 points this past week.
I mean, here's the thing: if you don't want him, you can give him back. I'll take him.
How about I trade you Gus Edwards for
No,
see, but I mean,
I mean
okay,
you give me
here's
Curtis Samuel and somebody else. I might consider Gus Edwards.
okay. Let me figure out what I can do for you. Hold on a second. I'll come back to that.
All right, while you're doing that, people I'm worried about, guys, I'm worried about. Green Bay, Tampa Bay, New England. I don't know what's going on with them. Green Bay, especially Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Maybe not so much New England, but Green Bay and Tampa Bay. I mean, you've got two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and for some reason they are losing games constantly. And it's not even like Green Bay doesn't have their full like complement of receivers and running backs, and it's definitely not like Tampa Bay doesn't have their full receivers and running backs. Something is happening, and and it's not even like they're necessarily performing poorly either. It's just I don't know if it's just not their year. I don't know what is happening. I mean, we're 7 weeks into the season, or I'm sorry, we're 6 weeks into the season. This will be week 7, and or are we 7 weeks? Yeah, we're 6 weeks. No, 7 weeks. 7 weeks. We're doing 7 weeks.
Listen, you're having this conversation with yourself. Let me know
I
when
am
you
pretty
need me to
much.
jump in.
The thing
Yeah, I
is like
got you.
so. Tampa Bay losing to Carolina. That's like what the heck. I'm not as surprised that Green Bay lost to Washington because Washington seems to actually be doing a really good job on their defense. But losing to the Panthers, especially after they lost Christian McCaffrey, maybe it was like the bump of like, oh, somebody got traded, so let's go out and like work really hard for our team. I don't know, but something that I'm kind of excited to see. I am excited to see New England with Zappy at the helm, as he's been for a while because
Is
they've
that how you
coached
say that?
actually
Zappy?
Zappy, yeah, Bailey Zappy, yeah.
Hmm.
And they changed quarterbacks in Indianapolis, so I'm hoping that gives a bump to Jonathan Taylor. And it looks like they're just not tired of Matt Ryan, but like, man, he's not doing what he should be. So Sam Elridge, I think or Elkridge, I forget exactly what, but he's going to get the start.
Yeah, Ryan's
Also
some,
looking at
I guess.
Seattle and the Chargers, I like Seattle beat the snot out of the Chargers. They got up quick and kind of just took off with it, especially on the back of Kenneth Walker for sure. But part of the thing is Keenan Allen wasn't out there. Mike Williams is injured. I think Keenan Allen, I think Joshua Palmer will have a more substantial role. Austin Eckler will continue to dominate as he has been. I think Herbert's got plenty of games in front of him, so it's just something to kind of like monitor. If we're talking about them next week, actually maybe they're on bye next week. San Francisco losing to Kansas City, 44-23.
My
That one I
word,
was really surprised because the
Scott.
defense for San Francisco was like, but but again, it's Kansas City.
Actually,
And
San
it's
Francisco's defense is like, except for this past week, they've been on top. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
they're
yeah.
number
Their
one in
defense has
most
been
leagues or two.
right. Their defense has been great.
In standard league, whoever has the best quarterback, defense, and kicker is who's winning.
Mm,
Because those are the only points that matter. Like it's, I picked up Greg Zurchin. I don't even know.
Zerline.
There you go. Picked him up, 16 points. Jets defense, 16 points. I mean, I still lost. Don't get me wrong, but the point is like they are by themselves like a force to be reckoned with usually. So kicker.
This is one of the reasons why you shouldn't. Number one, you shouldn't have kickers and defenses, and number two, shouldn't be playing in a standard league. Because the thing is like the problem with the standard league is everything relies on great running backs. Your wide receivers, unless they're like astronomical, they don't really matter much because they're not getting any points for the receptions. Or running backs, all they do is run. They're the ones getting the majority of the touches. They're going to be the ones getting all of the touches for running. And so you're going to have like when you have like a series, let's say it's a 10 play series, okay? If it's 5 rushing, 5 passing, those 5 rushes generally are going to go to one person. The 5 passes could go to 5 different guys, right? And so this is part of the reason why the half point PPR and the full PPR, that's one of the reasons why you should like have those in there. Is because otherwise in a standard league, your running backs are the only ones that actually seem to matter that much, along with quarterbacks. But then you have these ridiculous figures where the kicker and the defense, either you need to nerf, meaning like weaken the kicker and defense, or just get rid of them completely. Let's get on to the trading blocks. These
Scott
are
traded away George Kittle. Oh my god, I did not know that.
he traded away Travis Kelsey too earlier on in the
Man,
season. If you look down at September 21st, he got Joe Mixon for Travis Kelsey and Jahan Dotson.
never mind about making trades. Like you throwing away people like crazy.
He was. He was. He was. He no longer is.
I believe, but hear me out. I believe last time I talked to Scott in like hey, Scott, listen to me. I said, don't make any more trades. Pick the right starts, right?
Right.
So if he starts Curtis Samuel this game and instead of trading him away,
Who are you talking? You have Curtis
George Kittle.
Samuel. Oh,
George
okay,
Kittle.
George Kittle.
Sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. Okay,
But
excited.
no. But he traded him. He traded him away 2 weeks ago. It wasn't this past week. He traded him away 2 weeks ago to get Terry McLaurin.
Oh, is that the latest trade? Oh wow. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Nobody's
Okay, look it
nobody.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you got to look at the date as well. I would
Yeah,
say
I just
right now, yeah. I mean, he traded DeAndre Swift for Chris Godwin basically because J.K. Dobbins is no longer there. What I want to do is I want to go through and see if there's anything that sticks out to you in the trading that because they said they wanted to hear about us talk. They want to hear us talking about trades. I want to see if there's any trades that you see that are like. I know they want us to
who said
analyze.
that?
I'm not necessarily
Did
looking
I
at
did I did
analyzing.
I miss the did I miss that message? I
It
must
was
not
yeah.
have read it.
It was in Messenger.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen. I got to tell y'all a secret. If y'all are listening to this, if it's longer than the entire screen on my phone, probably ain't gonna read it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm horrible about that. I do that to my wife too. Like after so long, like my attention span just gets lost. And then by the time you click into it, it's like, oh, you read it, but I didn't, and I just forget about it. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just that person.
yeah. So basically,
Squirrel.
Scott's message this evening. Scott's message this evening was like about the new draft order and stuff like that, and you're like, nope,
Oh no, I
okay, ignore
saw
it.
that. I saw that.
Oh,
And I
oh,
was
you
like,
read
who
that
got
one? That one's like
who
a
got
full
confused?
like novel.
Well, no, I thought he was going back on it because before it was like, hey, whoever's in last place doesn't get to pick, and I thought now that he's in last place, he's trying to
That's
change it.
that's exactly what I thought.
That is the
I was like,
only reason.
if this boy, if he goes
That
back
is
on it,
the
I was like,
only reason I read it.
good. Actually,
I was like,
we
I'm gonna slap shit. I'm
we
gonna
got to
slap.
give him props. We got to give him props because the fact that he is still holding true to that and is like, you know what? Because being 0-7, chances are highly likely that I mean, he'll get in the consolation round, and who knows what could happen in the consolation round in the consolation bracket. He could actually end up winning out and get into sixth place basically in the league or seventh place, and so still have that opportunity that still exists. But anyway,
Didn't the Joker go out, or is he just on bye this
he's
week?
out. No, he's injured. He's injured. He'll probably be out at least for a week, if not
Mm.
longer. He was on a walking boot and crutches. Yeah, there was a lot of injuries this past week. Yeah, Scott's been on the back end of some terrible trades. Like getting rid of Travis Kelsey really hurt him, but
Would you trade? Would you give Gus Edwards to him for anybody?
he was trying to get Gus Edwards.
Well,
Let
they
me see if
both need
he's
Gus Edwards technically.
both him and the Leprechauns.
Yeah, I feel like you would take Kyler Murray for Gus Edwards or Derek Carr. Would
Mm,
you take Derek Carr for Gus Edwards? I mean, he's got Derek
no,
Carr down there too.
not straight up.
Straight
Not straight
up,
up.
not straight up.
No, because the thing is
Um,
again, like I can play the merry-go-round of having to stream quarterback. I'm okay with that. Like that doesn't burn me or hurt me or make me feel bad or anything like that. His Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker, those are studs. Like he really needs a better wide receiver.
all right, Scott, try this. Listen to me, and if it doesn't work, you can blame me. Okay, you start Cortland Sutton in the wide receiver if it's not on bye because they go against Jacksonville. He might actually get a
Mm-hmm.
game there. Or
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin would be a good start, honestly. Washington. Leave Chris Godwin. I don't know. You're on your own for wide receivers, but I would say Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, Dante Foreman, Chuba. You ain't got Jeff Wilson no more. J.K. Dobbins is out. Elijah Mitchell's out. All those are drops as far as my opinion goes. Nobody's trading you for those.
J.K. Dobbins is out. Yep, he needs to drop him. Elijah Mitchell might be worth a stash just to hold for my Christian McCaffrey. I know he's been trying to trade me Jeff Wilson and Elijah Mitchell for Gus Edwards. We tried that last week. I kind of laughed in his face. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Like it would
honestly,
benefit me if he drops Elijah Mitchell and drops Jeff Wilson, but I'm not gonna like give him.
I would say pick up Mariota after I drop him.
Mhm.
You know, wide receivers, maybe Chris Godwin and Cortland Sutton or Terry McLaurin. I don't know. I might even go Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton, and leave Tampa Bay out of the picture
Would
at
you trade
all.
Kenneth Walker for some like a couple of okay like wide receivers
I give my Isaiah McKenzie and Rashad Bateman for those.
for Kenneth Walker?
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
Isaiah
I
McKenzie would be
might even
high
give him
enough.
three. I might give him Curtis Samuel off it.
That might be something like maybe just like Curtis Samuel and Rashad Bateman might be worth it to go. Well, but that's the other thing too is like because like I'm trying to think because he's really opposed to getting away from Joe Mixon, which makes sense, of course. But I'm like, what would I personally? What would I trade him? I don't know. I might do like I tried to get him like I gave him like a crappy deal. I was like Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker for I think I was going to give him Jonathan Taylor and somebody else.
Honestly, I'm looking at it like this. So just those two. We'll talk about those two. I don't know why. Why didn't you put the third one down there too?
You mean the other
10 and
people?
2 team. 2 and 10, 2 and 6, two
I
and
just
five.
because Scott's lost 7 in a row, Leprechauns has lost 5 in a row. The other ones have lost. They like rotate back and forth, like Waterboys and
Okay,
Schrute Farms and all of them. They just constantly are like doing this
so
over. So
to the Leprechauns, yes, Kyler Murray, Deontay Johnson, Devontae Adams, sure. Dylan's gone. Drake gone. T. Higgins, I could see where you leave him in there just for the wow factor. Romeo Dobbs,
not
wow
good.
factor.
Nah, I don't
Uh,
know about him.
but that's the point. Like he ain't got nobody else.
But he's
Like
getting Dalvin Cook back.
Mike,
He's getting Dalvin Cook
Mike
back.
Boone, Mike Boone. Even though it says he's on IR, listen, Melvin Gordon's one drop away from being replaced by Latavius Murray. We all know that. AJ Dillon has been the scorn of Green Bay. I mean, I don't know honestly. Like that team is rough looking.
So here's what I would say. Deontay Johnson, Devontae Adams, good stuff. He's going to
T
start Dalvin
Higgins.
Cook.
I would say T Higgins isn't a bad start.
T. Higgins is bad. Zach Ertz is pretty decent. Um, Robert Woods seems to be coming into his own. There seems to be like it seemed to be finally. Although I don't know if Tannehill is going to start this next week because he injured himself. What's his name? Uh, Malik Willis.
Nico
Malik
Collins.
Willis. No. Malik Willis is the quarterback for Tennessee, second string quarterback. So he might be the one in there. And so there might be some good stuff there, depending on how Tannehill is doing. Um, I would be aiming to trade.
Bro, he ain't got nobody to trade.
No, I mean he's got Devontae Adams
I mean, your best bet is to. I don't even know who's on the waiver
or
wire
Kyler
on
Murray.
this
Like
team.
he could trade Kyler Murray and probably get something. I don't know. I might go after him and see if I can give him like Gus Edwards and another person. I did try to trade him Kyler Murray. I tried to trade for Kyler Murray. I forget what I tried to offer. But I did try to offer something for Kyler Murray because I would love to have Kyler Murray, just because he's much more stable than Geno Smith. However, that being said, it might be, and he might be able to get a little bit more out of me just because, you know, this past week, Kyler Murray was good. With DeAndre Hopkins back, it seems like that will be getting better and better as far as his abilities and stuff. So yeah, I would probably trade Kyler Murray, keep Derek Carr, or trade Derek Carr, but you're going to get a lot less for Derek Carr than that. But try and go and get another okay running back, maybe like an okay running back and an okay wide receiver for Kyler Murray. Um,
Okay, how
and
about this?
but
Leprechauns. Go to Nick and ask him for Hines and maybe another backup running back that he has on his waiting list. Somebody that might get you, you know, at least 10 points or something like that
like Gus and Naeem Hines for who?
for his QB.
For Kyler. The only dilemma that I've got with that is if he's if he's giving me Kyler and he's taking away my backup to Jonathan Taylor, that's a concern I've got because Naeem Hines
Well,
has
I mean,
been
of
good.
course that's a concern, but that's the game we play. You have to pay to play, son. You need a QB. He needs a running back. There's a deal right there. I need a QB. You didn't necessarily need a running back, but I made the play, didn't I?
What if I do like Jonathan Taylor and Naeem Hines? I give them both of those guys for like Kyler Murray and Devontae Adams.
Bro. I mean, I would make that deal because that's what I did to you, you know? That is exactly. Actually, I would just give him Jonathan Taylor and you keep Naeem Hines. That is exactly what I did to you.
That's true. That's true. All right. Feel good about this?
I don't feel bad about it. I mean, I'm winning.
I'm winning too, but just not as much as I should be. All right.
Listen, I just want to point this out to you, Scott.
What is that?
Once
Oh,
again,
Scott.
I am 1-6 in my other league, and I have traded the bank away so far. Just so you know where I'm at, I traded Justin Jefferson away for Tua and Gus Edwards. Sir, worst case scenario, you go 0-8. I
That's
mean, you're
true.
already
That's true.
losing. I mean, you can't lose any more. Well, I mean, you could lose more, but you're already in last place. The only way from here is up
What if I
or
give him like
level.
Jonathan Taylor and Mark Andrews for um, Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker?
He wouldn't make that deal because he's got number one tier running backs, and you're just giving him a tier one and a tight end two at best.
What do you mean a tight end two? What are you talking about? He's
Have you talked
the
to the man? He will tell you that is a tight end two at best.
He says no. It's the number two tight end. He said he's willing to trade it straight across for Mixon, but I wonder if I throw in Jonathan Taylor there. But I would basically be trading in Jonathan Taylor for Kenneth Walker, and I'm not doing
Hey Scott,
that.
let me have Mixon and Walker, and you can have Josh Jacobs.
I
Oh,
would
oh,
rather have.
Nick said. Nick
I'm,
said,
I'm,
"Ooh,
I'm interested in Josh Jacobs. I like his output so far. He's been doing really well this
he
past few
does
weeks.
put out pretty much every time."
That's true. All right.
Hey, guess what? Tennessee Titans are on top, gentlemen. Let's go.
Yay! Top of
All
the
right, go
AFC
ahead. Close
South.
her out.
Nice. All right.
Close
Ladies
her
and
out.
gentlemen, thank you so much for sticking with us and listening to our mumble, bumble, jumble of fantasy football. If you are watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe, click the like button, click the bell. That way you can be notified when we post. Leave a comment. Leave comments in the bottom. Let us know what you think about the trade options that we've got. We want to know, who would you trade Jonathan Taylor for? Who would you trade Joe Mixon for? Who would you trade if you were 0-7, and like, who would you be willing to give up being at 0-7 in order to possibly
I'll
get a
give you
win
Josh
next week?
Jacobs for your top three scorers, Scott. I got you.
um, if you're listening on your podcasting app, please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and let us know how we're doing because we're interested in what you have to say. I'm Nick,
I'm Andrew.
and as always,
You have an open invitation to our conversation